That's what I find interesting about like these magical and witchy habits, is that a lot of them are just kind of like a remembering. And it just feels right to do it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. I am so honored and grateful that you are here. If you are new here, I'm Lindsay Tanner. I post new videos each week on what it means to live an aligning, fulfilling, and present life. Sometimes they're yoga flows, other times they're meditations, and many times they're videos like this where I just sit down and talk about different topics in that theme. So if you're interested, please hit subscribe and join the party. Join the club, join the community. But this month specifically, first off, it's my favorite month of the year, October, even though the Midwest did not get the memo. It is hot and muggy here still, but I think we only have one more day, hopefully, which is ironic because we just moved back from Phoenix. It feels like a true Phoenix fall here, but it's my favorite month of the year for so many reasons. I love fall. My birthday's at the end of the month. Halloween's my favorite season. And for one, the word that I want to talk about today is like more commonly accepted. This is truly like the season of the witch. So even though I like to think I embody witchy energy throughout the year, and I'm going to be talking about some witchy or magical habits that I've built into my life that could also help you, this is really the month of the year and the season of the year where it's like acceptable to like kind of claim that title. And I just feel like society as a whole is really kind of exploring what that word means to them. Of course, previously for centuries, I mean, going all the way back to the witch trials and even probably before then, it has been seen as a negative word or something you should be fearful of. But a lot of people are taking that word back. And to me, what witch means is just being like deeply connected to yourself, deeply connected to nature in this planet, deeply connected to your intuition, or as Mia Magic calls it, intuition. It's just like taking your power back. And I think that's like the beautiful part of kind of reclaiming that title. So let's jump right into it. What are some habits that are fairly simple that I've been incorporating into my life that I consider a little bit of witchy and magical and can help you live your most fulfilling, aligning, and present life? So the first thing that I've been doing recently, and it actually kind of sparked from, well, if you didn't know, we are currently living with our in-laws. I'm in my mother-in-law's magical, beautiful garden right now. I was like, I have to film this video outside because being witchy, to me, a huge part is being connected to nature. So I need to be in nature. But they just got a new refrigerator and their water comes out really slowly. So I took that as an opportunity that every time I'm filling up my water bottle, I set the water with intention. And a lot of people call that charging your water. There's like a whole study on the effects of setting intentions over water or a liquid, specifically water. Go watch the movie The Secret Life of Water on Gaia. You can use my link in the description to get a free trial. It is mind-blowing. But I just found that to be such a fun habit to do while I'm waiting for my water to fill, because it takes like a minute or two for it to fill because it's slowly. I just like kind of almost pray over my water. And I set the intention of it nourishing me, like nourishing my body and giving me vitality and health. That's been a huge thing for me in this year, is just being healthy. My body's really been communicating with me there. Or you can charge it with abundance or just happiness and joy, whatever you want it to be. Obviously, the higher vibration feeling, the better, but you can really charge your water with whatever you want. So I encourage you to do that. Or when you're like going to get water, if it takes you a while to get water from wherever you're getting water, maybe just like expressing gratitude that like we have clean water. Gratitude is like the highest vibration you can do. So even that would be beneficial in that practice. Or you can use that time to stop and breathe or check in with your posture. I think just like associating mundane tasks like that, like getting water or whatever it may be, with like checking in with yourself or setting intentions or just breathing, is so powerful. And to me, that kind of seems like a magical witchy practice. So that's the first thing I've been doing. And honestly, I feel like I'm feeling the benefits, even though I am not thinking about that every time I drink my water. Like subconsciously, when I'm drinking the water, it's like magically charged now, right? Or I've set that intention over it. So every time I drink my water, I'm embodying that energy. The second thing I've been doing is really leveraging the phases of the moon. Now, I am someone who has always been obsessed with the moon. Like, I love when we're on walks and the moon is coming out. It just is so beautiful. Like, it never ceases to amaze me how beautiful the moon is. I think there's even a word I found on Instagram for someone who's obsessed with the moon. I'll insert it here, but that is me. And I've been really into like researching, now I want to say this correctly, what part of the sky the moon is in. So, like what zodiac sign it's in. And I have a YouTube channel I'll link. She does such a good job of describing it. I think it's Alina Alive is the YouTube channel. And each month or multiple times a month, she posts videos like describing how we can leverage that time, not only like the new moon and the full moon, because those like embody different energies, but also depending on what sign it's in, whether it's Libra or Aries or whatever it may be, you can really tap into that energy. And again, I know that's not for everyone, but researching the zodiac, obviously, as you've seen on my channel, I've been doing yoga flows for each of the zodiac signs, has been so interesting for me. Oh my goodness, I just looked up and saw a praying mantis above this little sign right here. That connects to a point we'll get to later, but that I'm taking as a sign from the universe. Thank you, praying mantis, for popping into this video. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So the new moon, from what I understand, is really a time to set intentions. And again, you can kind of correlate that to the intentions of the zodiac sign it's in. And then the full moon is a time to like stop and reflect, either to release or to celebrate or just to bring things to the surface. And I think that people do that anyways, like with the months, which are really the moods, right? Like that's where the word comes from. Like people kind of do that already. People that are very high achieving and productive, they kind of each month like take inventory of what they want to do more of or what they did really well last month. I just feel like that's a very magical way to still do that. Like you're still almost embodying productivity, but in such a less heavy way. It's such an expansive and fun and magical way. That's another thing I love about incorporating these magical habits is they feel so playful and childlike, which we all need more of that energy. So I encourage you to do that if you are in love with the moon like I am, or even just intrigued. Try just like doing the meditations each like that time of the month when it's like the new moon and the full moon, and seeing how leveraging that energy of such a huge celestial body, like it affects the tides, of course it affects us, how that feels for you. The next thing I've been doing, and I did a lot more of in our house when we were in Phoenix, and now of course we're kind of like moving around, or we're pretty settled with Steven's in-laws for now, but we're in the process of looking for a new home. So this can be tricky if you like are moving around or traveling, but that's creating an altar space. And this is super new to me, even though I think I've kind of always done it. And I think a lot of people watching do it without even realizing it, but it's just kind of like creating a space that's sacred to you, and you incorporate different things that signify like intentions that you're setting or things you want to remember. Or I like to put my crystals there. A lot of people do that. Sometimes I will hang up like the cards that I've drawn in that season. I've started doing like oracle card pulls or tarot card pulls during the new moon and a full moon, and I'll keep those out to remind me of the messages I'm receiving. I see it as a space to just like go, and maybe that's where you're setting your intentions or doing other things or praying or even going even farther into like spell work. I have not gone that far necessarily, even though I guess you consider the other stuff I'm doing spell work, but it's just a place for you to go that is sacred to you, and it has things that are important to you and it reminds you of your intentions in this season. Feel free to just play around with this. You can change it out with the seasons, change it out with like what is feeling inspiring to you, but it's just a space that you get to play around with and reminds you of the power that you have within you, reminds you to connect with your intuition, reminds you of what you are wanting to embody in this season of your life. Now, the next thing I kind of already mentioned with our little praying mantis friend here, but that is just connecting with nature. That was the whole reason we wanted to do RV life, which if you didn't know, we tried to do RV life. It didn't last very long, but luckily we're still prioritizing being in nature. Even when it is hot and even when it's starting to get cold, I still want to prioritize being outside and connecting with nature, going on walks, just being outside, putting your feet on the ground, Steven and I just did yoga outside, which at first I was like reluctant to, because I was like, no, I need to like work and do this stuff and film this video. But it felt so good. Doing yoga outside is just amazing. And just being still in nature, like just get still, breathe, meditate, whatever feels right to you, and just see like what messages you're receiving from nature. Because a lot of times the trees, the grass, the rocks, the animals are communicating with you, and they're sending you messages and signs of things that you need to hear, and we're just too busy to hear them. So that's my encouragement to you, is to just go outside and be still and connect with nature and just breathe and listen. Tune into what you need to receive in this moment. And another fun thing I love to do, again, this just makes it more magical and childlike, is every time like I see something flying or little sparkles, like coming through a spider web, or sparkles off the water, sparkles in the trees, I'm always like, those are the fairies. Like that's where the fairies live. To me, I mean, I do believe that. I think it's just, another dimension we sometimes are connected with and sometimes they're not. So that's a fun way to make your walks even more magical, is like try to look for the fairies or see what the fairies are saying to you in that moment, because they are there. They are like the protectors of nature, or other elementals that are out there like gnomes and trolls and stuff. I mean, that's a whole other thing we could get into, but that's just really fun for me to go out and connect with the fairies out in nature. Now, the next thing I'm, again, just kind of dipping my toe into, and I've done a few yoga flows for these, I'd like to do more, is connecting with the Sabbats. So the Sabbats, I think there are, I had to look it up really quick. There are 8 different Sabbats according to, I mean, these are pagan Sabbats. I mean, that's what you can relate witchcraft to. Again, we could go like deeper into this, right? But what I like about the Sabbats is it just connects you to the wheel of the year, the seasons of the year. That's what they're connected to. So these are things like the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the winter solstice. And then there's ones in between each one of those. And they each have their own name. I'm not going to go through each one of them. Maybe that's something we can explore together in the future, or you can look up on your own on YouTube. And then the ones in between, probably the most famous is Samhain, which is Halloween, my favorite holiday or favorite Sabbath. But I've just, when those roll around, I like just researching what the themes are of the Sabbath and maybe different ways I can honor that season. I think it's just a beautiful way to like guide you through the ebbs and flows of life. And I've been finding myself really drawn towards, the rest in the winter and the rebirth in the spring and the flourishing in the summer, like how that mirrors in my life as well. So it's just been kind of fun to follow along with. There are many different ways you can celebrate, different rituals you can do, things you can bake, intentions you could set, yoga flows you can do. So it's just been a fun thing to celebrate. And I find it interesting how most religious holidays are connected to those ancient pagan Sabbaths. So interesting, a whole nother thing I want to research and dive into. But these Sabbats just like resonate on a soul level. That's what I find interesting about like these magical and witchy habits, is that a lot of them are just kind of like a remembering, and it just feels right to do it. And it's interesting that like mainstream isn't doing this, or it's becoming more popular, like I said, but a lot of people aren't doing this. But even though that's the case, it feels right to me and my soul and into my internal guidance, my intuition, that this is stuff that just like brings me so much joy in how I want to be celebrating the wheel of the year. It's so interesting that I'm talking about like all this stuff, because all the magical creatures are coming out. We've got the praying mantis. I just saw a spider. We have a woodchuck that lives under the sunroof. They all want to be a part of this video, and I love it so much. Now, the last thing I've been doing, the last habit I've written down, I kind of already mentioned, but that's just pulling tarot cards or oracle cards. At first, I found this very intimidating, because I know like the tarot is like a whole thing you can study. But what's interesting is that they come with like a little booklet that can explain each card to you. So as long as you have good intentions and you set good intentions and you kind of like clear your deck, that's something you can research too. You can set it out in the full moon, just like you do with your crystals or your water. That's another magical witchy thing you can do. Setting an intention for the season or for the day. I just always ask like, what do I need to know in this moment? or there's different card pulls you can do where you do multiples. The most common one I've done is like, what do I need to know about my past? What do I need to know about my present? What do I need to know about my future? And it's just very interesting to kind of experiment with that and see what messages you receive. Again, it's just another way to communicate with the universe. And one of my decks, I think I brought out here somewhere. Actually, I don't think I brought it out, so I'll show you a picture of it. It's just so beautiful. I love the artwork and the paintings, and I just love looking at the pictures. So not only do I love getting that message, but just looking at the pictures brings me so much joy. So that is all I have for you in this video. If you like this, let me know in the comments what habits you're already doing or that you're interested in doing, or maybe you have started dabbling in witchy magical stuff on your own. Again, this is an energy I feel like I've always had. I've always been an October girl because my birthday is October 26th and I love Halloween. So it's been just really fun and felt good to step into like owning this title. And of course, publishing this video out into the universe, out into the ethers, is just another way that I'm kind of claiming that title. So I'm sending you all so much love and all the highest vibes. And of course, I will see you in the next video.